Oh, sugar honey iced tea. It's the EAC Show.
Good day, ladies and gents. I'm Emilio A. Colon.
And I am Marcus Mack, and this is the EAC Show episode, what are we on, 41?
42.
42. Here live from sunny South Florida. This is Social Media Mondays. How was your weekend, Emilio?
Weekend was great, man. I mean, we had a lot of stuff that ended up going on. We got so much to talk about on this show. I don't think we're going to cover everything, Marcus Mack. NASCAR came back. Golf came back. That was a complete snooze fest. I was sleeping by the time it started. German soccer came back. You had a bunch of Homo sapiens beating up on another bunch of Homo sapiens with UFC fights. Like, you had sports coming back slowly but surely, and we still had massive topics to talk about today on today's show. Marcus Mack, run down the topics of EAC headlines, please.
Well, I mean, first, before we get into the show, here at the EAC Show, we want to send our love to the family of UFC fighter Khabib. His father, I think maybe about a week ago, he had heart surgery, and he's been dealing with symptoms from COVID-19. So we send our prayers out to him and his family. Of course, we're going to talk about The Last Dance. Plenty of topics from The Last Dance, everything from streams going up from the infamous theme music.
The Alan Parsons Project, yeah.
Right. Huge demand for that on Spotify. Some iconic sneakers, and everyone who knows about EAC kicks, they know that I'm a huge sneakers fan. And we're going to talk about that later on in the show. We also got some stuff, some NFL stuff, some more jerk-offs catching cases. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on with these guys in the NFL, man. But we got a few topics from a few guys catching cases, and we'll talk about that more in the show. I really can't even get it out because I'm extremely disappointed with these guys with all of these opportunities, and they catching these gun cases and robberies. It's really sad. But like I said, we're gonna talk about that more later on in the show.
And then our last topic, Marcus Mack.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that right now?
No, you're just gonna mention it.
We're just gonna mention it? Okay.
Yes.
Well, South Korea apologizes as sex dolls appear in stands. I'm gonna just say that for right now. We'll talk about it more. We'll talk about it more later on in the show.
So, like I said earlier, there was so much to talk about, Marcus Mack. It was really, really tough to make a decision on what we were going to talk about today on this show, on episode 42 of the EAC Show. We ended up deciding that we're going to talk about New York, California, and Texas finally open up and welcoming sports into their states. Marcus Mack, we talked about this previously on Wednesday's show and Friday's show, that states were going to start falling in line because Florida and Arizona were leading states opening up and saying, look, if you guys can't play in those states, come here and come play in ours. Well, the problem with that is there's regional TV money that these sports franchises don't want to lose if you don't play in that region. So, for example, if the New York Knicks or the Brooklyn Nets have to come and play in Florida, you're gonna have to share revenue with the state of Florida that's producing your product for you. So, franchises don't want that. They don't want to lose out on money because they're already losing out on enough money already. So they don't want to lose out on money. So now these other states are starting to open up, Marcus Mack.
Yeah, naturally, everything out east obviously will come to Florida, and everything out west will go to Arizona. And we discussed this the last episode as well. I think Texas was definitely, we predicted that one to be the next state to open up. What's so crazy is New York State being one of the main states affected from COVID-19. I was surprised that they was part of the first wave of states to open back up, but they don't want to miss out on that revenue. So it's not a surprise for me at all. And obviously, California.
I'm glad it's happening. I'm glad it's happening,
Marcus, California has?
How many what?
How many teams does California have?
Oh man, it's a bunch. Come
A
on, dude.
bunch
What are
of
you
them. The
talking
state
about?
of
There's so
California. They
many.
have
Yeah, I mean,
they
and
have
basketball and
Clippers,
basketball alone, just run
Lakers.
down the list. Just you got
Yeah,
the Lakers, you got
Golden
the
State.
Clippers, you got the Sacramento Kings, you got the Golden State Warriors. You got so many teams in California alone. So
The
they
Rams
have to
with their
open.
hideous with their with their hideous uniforms that just went over there. Yeah, they can't miss that much.
The IKEA uniforms.
Yeah, the IKEA colors. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that these states are opening up, so now we can actually get into some form of entertainment, sports entertainment, especially with baseball, because like I said, I'm an avid baseball fan. So California, Texas, and now New York are saying they're willing to open up, and we're going to see other states, also open up slowly but surely. States that don't even have nowhere near as many coronavirus victims or cases. They're going to end up opening up more and more. And all of a sudden, we're going to start getting sports being played. I'm going to say early June and July.
Yeah. With the baseball season starting off, and I can't wait for the beginning of football season. That's for me. I know right now is a glorious time for you to see see baseball crank back up, but I can't wait for football season to start back in September. I believe September 10th. And for a while, there was just, whispers of only practices, like people being able to practice. And I think the revenue should be great opening back up. I know there's a lot of talk about how they're going to pull it off as far as people coming and still being safe with COVID. But I know that there'll be some kind of innovation with that. We see what they did in what was that, in Korea, where they had the Zoom calls in the seats.
Yeah.
Korea got a lot of work.
In the German soccer league, Marcus Mack, they had the substitutes that were sitting on the bench. They had them 6 feet apart from each other in chairs. So adjustments are gonna have to be made. It is what it is.
Yeah. So
Marcus Mack, let's get into the second one.
Yeah, moving along. Well, for the Last Dance talk, I think I want to start off by talking about these Jordan 7s, autographed Jordan 7s, the Dream Team Olympic, iconic sneakers, worn by Jordan in 1992. I think personally, these sneakers could sell for well over 25,000. There's a whole month still on the auctioning block. So they're at 16,000 now. I think that they can reach up to maybe 30,000.
Those iconic sneakers will go for way more than that. The actual engagement and the outpouring of support and love for this Last Dance documentary has been amazing. Jordan apparel itself in the month of May, we're only 18 days in the month of May, is up 400%. I posted it on our IG page, Marcus Mack. I said that some people are complaining about how this is the Nike / Gatorade / all types of partner Michael Jordan ploy. But what's wrong with promoting people that support you, Marcus?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about the business side of things all the time. And again, just like we talked about last episode when I said I wanted to buy the throwback jersey, it's marketing. It's part of it. So right now, with Last Dance being like the biggest thing in sports, let's not forget right now, being that there's no sports being played, right? Last Dance is like the biggest thing for all sports fans right now. It doesn't matter what kind of sports you're into. The Last Dance, this Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls documentary, is the biggest thing going on. So the influence that Michael Jordan has already, as is, huge. Just thinking about those Jordan 7s that's going to be sold for thousands of dollars in the upward of the 5-figure region. You know what I'm saying? Just that alone, whoever bought it is going to say, the time when I bought this, there were no sports going on. And the biggest thing going on was the Michael Jordan documentary. Just to be able to take that alone.
It's going to be iconic, Marcus Mack. I know the Alan Parsons Project, which is basically the theme music for the Chicago Bulls. the spikes in Spotify streams has risen to exponential levels because of this Last Dance. This Last Dance is literally just moving things along. It's keeping things going, if you really think about it, in the world of people that are surrounding themselves with Michael Jordan, Gatorade, Nike, you know, all of his sponsorships that he has partnerships with are seeing a rise in their numbers. There's nothing absolutely wrong with that. I applaud it.
Spotify quoted that the Alan Parsons project was up 335%. Now, we spoke about this some time ago. We was talking about how when people pass, how much their music gets streamed, or when there's like a big controversy around somebody's name, how much their stuff gets listened to or how much their stuff gets seen. This right here is just another example, one of those things where it's just like everybody is remembering that time. Everybody's remembering early 90s, mid 90s, you know, when the Chicago Bulls was at its peak, you know, and everybody's remembering that. Everybody wants to listen. They want to hear it, you know?
Right. I mean, The Last Dance to me, it was really good. I loved it. I did feel that episode 9 and 10 felt like it was a little bit rushed. And as soon as I ended up thinking that, Marcus Mack, I saw on ESPN the Scott Van Pelt show, the actual director of The Last Dance said that he didn't submit episode 10 to this past Thursday. So you could tell that the last 2 episodes were a little bit more rushed and put together like on a quick note in comparison in the first 8. But there was also a feeling that Michael Jordan said at the end of the episode, Marcus Mack, that 1998 didn't have to be, like 1997 season didn't have to be their last season together, that he really did feel like they can go out and they can re-sign everybody else, get Scottie to come back, and try to go for championship number 7. But that wasn't the case. Jerry Reinsdorf basically put out there that the reason why they needed to break up the team was because from a financial standpoint, it was just going to be too much to pay these players. He felt like paying Steve Kerr was going to be beyond market value. He felt like paying Dennis Rodman again was going to be too high. Scottie needed a massive raise. Michael, you could pay Michael 1 year $30 million, or you were already giving him that, so that doesn't matter.
They was already giving him an upward million.
Yeah, so to bring all these players back and pay them what you're paying them, from a financial standpoint, the Bulls just didn't want to operate that way anymore, so they had to rebuild. They had to tear the team apart. Once again, I was having a conversation earlier today about Jerry Krause. I still feel like, in my opinion, Marcus Mack, that Jerry Krause doesn't get the fair shake that he did. I did some research last night. Jerry Krause's wife has a smoking gun ready to unload on all of us one day because she has his memoirs. He wrote memoirs in the last couple years of his life, basically chronicling his time with the Chicago Bulls. And not for nothing, she is smart, and she'll probably sell that to the highest bidder, and that can actually become a movie to where we can see things and hear about things that no one knows about.
Yeah, well, this won't be the first time that a player's wife had him by the balls. It won't be the first time. It definitely won't be the last.
No, Jerry Krause's wife, listen, I know she feels, because she's been requested a few times, Marcus Mack, and for those that don't know, Jerry Krause is GM of the former GM of the Chicago Bulls. I know she's been requested to do interviews about this Last Dance, and she's denied all of them. I think she's really, really waiting for the right time to be able to release this memoirs or turn it into an actual movie to where she can tell his side of the story about a lot of the stuff that happened. Maybe some of the stuff about Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman.
I mean, there wouldn't be no time better than now. What time would be better than now to release something like it? So this last 2 episodes was the last episodes, correct? Right now would be the best time to release it because right now is when everybody's talking about it.
Yeah, but I think that because the documentary was such a success, that if you try to release a rebuttal to the documentary, it's gonna get ridiculed. It's gonna get destroyed. It's gonna get depicted.
That's the point. That's what you want. We just talked about this. It's the controversy that they want. So now bring in the praise, The praise has gone. Now bring in the controversy.
Marcus Mack, in my opinion, you let The Last Dance die off, and then you bring this out at a different time. You don't try to ride the success that The Last Dance had. I don't agree with that, not one bit.
I mean, you don't have to agree with it, but I can guarantee the whole world will be watching. That's for sure.
No, I mean, yeah, because there's nothing to watch right now. But you're trying to debunk some of the information that's being sent out. I'm not criticizing how they got on him or how they were making fun of him and stuff like that. That's just banter. That's just jabbing at him or whatever. The man was a genius. The man was a high exec. You know, he got 6 championships, helped win 6 championships for the Chicago Bulls. But some of that stuff is one-sided. We don't get to hear Jerry's side. We don't get to hear the other side basically telling him, hey, listen, this is the real reason why we had to do this shit. The owner is being cheap as hell, and we couldn't spend no more money. It wasn't within our budget. Like, you're not hearing that part.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, if she comes out with any information at all, I can quite surely tell you that they will say something in rebuttal to whatever she has to say.
No, of
I'm
course,
quite
absolutely.
sure about it.
But now the ball is in.
They would have to.
Now the ball is in her court, so she can control it because this whatever she has is ammunition to come out later.
Yeah, and she will control the entire narrative unless someone can come out and say that she's lying.
Absolutely, I don't disagree with you not one bit.
But as long as the attention is still there, it's like just like what we was talking about with Magic Johnson coming out with his documentary, or with Mike Tyson having his comeback, and then here comes Evander Holyfield. You know, so it's like while that's going on, you want to strike while the iron's hot. And hey, why not? It's just like if a we've seen this countless of times in the music industry where an artist was really hot at one time, and here comes some girl trying to release a sex tape or something like that. You know. So we'll go
absolutely.
into
I mean, Marcus Mack, I enjoyed The Last Dance. I thought all 10 episodes was great. Like I said earlier, I did feel like the last 2 were rushed, and that's understandable considering the fact that, you know, it was released earlier than what expected. But overall, it was really, really good. I think they did a great job, and more than anything else, the sports world and sports fans all across needed it right now.
Yeah, definitely. We're gonna go on to the next couple of topics, but first, let's go into to promo.
Yes, this part of the show is brought to you by our sponsor, El Cubano Sandwich Shop. Use the promo code EAC and receive discounts on online pickups or delivery orders. Enjoy a cafe con leche or natural pre-workout shot of that Cuban coffee to start your day. The daily lunch specials and their steak sandwich is next level. Once again, use the promo code EAC. That's El Cubano Sandwich Shop, or 954-906-5110. Remember, use the promo code EAC, and that's El Cubano Sandwich Shop in Coral Springs.
Okay, so as much as I hate to talk about this stuff,
wait, use the name that you used in the pre-show.
Oh man, these 3 dickheads. I'm gonna call them. Let's say 4 of them, because that the last story, where the guys got into the gambling situation. Those 2 dickheads, and now we got a player from the Washington Redskins, Cody Latimer. Just this Saturday, he got caught up with multiple felony charges, stemming from some situation Saturday morning, dealing with a poker game. He pulled out a gun, discharged it. I'm guessing he maybe tried to scare a guy up, shot it in the air. He got arrested. I don't know what the hell is going on with these guys. I don't know what they're drinking in the NFL water. I don't know what they're putting in the Gatorade. But these NFL players just seem to keep getting in trouble.
Then you got defensive end, Buffalo Bills defensive end, Ed Oliver Jr. getting arrested for a DUI. And he gets arrested, and while he's getting arrested, he has on a Buffalo Bills shirt. It's not a good look. Not a good look at all. Let me explain something to you, Marcus Mack. These guys are supposed to be at OTAs or voluntary minicamp or getting ready for the season, and these guys are doing that stuff. But now, because that OTAs and those mini camps don't exist, these guys have too much time on their hands. So we're seeing more guys get in trouble left and right. It's just they need football to start more than anything else.
Really? Is that the excuse?
It's not an excuse, it's fact.
Man, well, that fact is a poor excuse. That fact is a poor excuse. I am extremely disappointed because these guys, I mean, you can't possibly be that bored, man. Go work out or something. Go do something. Make some Instagram.
But they do. Marcus, they do go work out. They get it in really, really, really early. But the problem is that because you're confined in your home, you're trying to figure out what to do or trying to make stuff happen. I'm going to go to this barbecue normally you wouldn't be going to. Or I'm going to go to this poker game and gamble because normally you wouldn't have the opportunity to go to that poker game and gamble because you'll be somewhere else.
Right. And you know what? Me and a friend of mine was just talking about this today, man. You know, these conditions that we're forced to live under right now with this whole, you know, with the quarantine, it's not normal. You know, it's not normal for people to be forced to stay inside. Like your average civilian isn't, you know, they're not privy to what you would go through to just be locked in. Now, you're not locked in. You can go outside. But, you know, when you're in a position where you're so accustomed to living your life a certain way, and then that's taken away from you, not just that you don't know really how to move, but then it's like you said, what you'll normally be doing, now you're doing something completely different. So right. You move in a way almost like you're in the blind, like everything is new. I don't think it's a good enough excuse.
Aaron Rodgers, Marcus Mack compared quarantine to house arrest. I mean, it's relatively similar, but it's not house arrest because you can leave and go do what you got to do. You just don't want to leave to do what you got to do.
There's no, obviously there's no criminal consequences for you leaving your house during the quarantine. But, you know, I still feel like it's not the same. I won't even say that. It's not the same. It's similar because, hey, you got to stay in the house because of such and such and such reason. But, you know, like, I just think a lot of this stuff is just pure carelessness, just being irresponsible.
Poor choices. Yeah,
poor choices. They're definitely poor choices. And I'm saying that with an emphasis on it because these guys are in positions of, you know, they're taking their families to another level. Their lives are, you know, at a different level. You're completely different. You're not a regular civilian at this point. You understand what I'm saying? And, you know, some of these things that I'm seeing a lot of these guys get into, and it's been happening for a very long time. It's like they say, you know, money don't buy you happiness, you know? So these guys get into a lot of situations, whether it be with alcohol, whether it be with drugs, you understand? You know, so I get it, but it's not a good enough excuse.
Guys, get locked in, get your mind right, get focused, don't ruin stuff for yourself and your family. You're not going to get too many opportunities. Eventually, those opportunities are going to go to waste and people aren't going to take any chances on you anymore. You don't want to ruin those chances. So, Marcus Mack, let's get into our last topic on episode 42, and I know you're going to have a ball with this one.
Okay, so in South Korea, a South Korea club.
A soccer club.
Huh?
A South Korean soccer club.
Yeah, soccer club. Yeah. They, by mistake, they put out sex dolls during after a game, after a win. Why they put them out there, I have no idea whatsoever. While the season started May 8th, fans are not yet allowed in stadiums because of the corona outbreak. So was they putting these sex dolls in the seats to make it seem like, give the illusion like there were people there and there was a close-up on the sex dolls?
Yes. The problem is that they were doing this and it was more like a sexist thing because basically all of the dolls that were put up were female dolls. The cardboard cutouts were of the male players, but the actual dolls were sex dolls of females. So there were no male dolls, so it felt like it was a sexist thing. I mean, I just think they tried to do something that was funny, and unfortunately it wasn't done correctly. It was, it was bad taste. And
they took the L. They definitely took the L train all the way to Loserville.
My question is, as I'm looking at the picture online, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 10 sex dolls. Who's going out and buying 10 sex dolls and bringing them to the stadium?
That's a good question. I have an even better question. Who has 10 sex dolls?
What do you do? What do you do with those sex dolls afterwards? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're Purelling them, and like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know. I sent some time ago when all this, Corona thing started, somebody sent me a video of like it was supposed to be a promo for a club. And instead of the girls, like the dancers in the club putting on baby oil, they was putting on hand sanitizer.
Yeah. I sent that to you. I sent that to you. But listen, just to set the record straight, the word sex doll is being misused because these are actual mannequins that they use. They just didn't use the mannequins properly because it was only female mannequins that they used. They didn't use male mannequins as well.
Right, which obviously pissed off somebody's wife. How could you? You couldn't have put male dolls too? Does it matter? Does it really matter?
Well, listen, the sports world gave us some stuff to talk about. We talked about Homo sapiens beating up on Homo sapiens. We talked about golf. We talked about German soccer. We talked about NASCAR. We talked about The Last Dance. Two dickheads again. We talked about, Korean.
Two dickheads and a gun. That should be a show for the NFL. Two dickheads and a gun.
We talked about a lot of stuff. We appreciate you guys checking in on episode 42. Make sure you check out episode 43. Click, like, subscribe, comment on YouTube. We appreciate all the engagement, and make sure you check us out episode 43. Marcus Smack, appreciate you too.
All right.
Oh, sugar honey iced tea. It's the EAC Show.